Hello friends, this is me, your host. Welcome back to our channel. I hope all is going well with you. Today I am back with another video to give a review on another book, which is One More Day of Us. This book is by Shari Low. And in this book we will get to know love may come and go, but great friends last a lifetime. Hi, Moira replied. I think I'm booked in here. I am with the Night Stars talent agency. Oh dear, another victim. Are you vaccinated? Against what? Everything. Moira wasn't sure why that was important or what her answer should be. So she shook her head. In that case, I hope you have travel insurance because this place is a germ factory. With that, she stuck her hand out. I am Carina, a fellow hostage of Night Stars talent. There is still time for you to run. I can't. My lungs gave up working about 10 minutes ago. Moira shrugged, feeling the friction rash beginning to bubble under the damp straps of. Fine, but don't say I didn't want you. The other girl, what had she said her name was, stood back to let her past, then followed her up a narrow, rickety staircase. At the top, there was a small reception desk with a wall of key slots behind it. If you bang on that bell for long enough, someone will appear with your key. You don't work here? Moira asked what she thought was a fairly reasonable question. But the other woman looked horrified by the suggestion. No, I only answered the door to make you stop ringing the bell. I was trying to sleep before I go to work. Oh, right. Sorry about that, Moira said too. She suddenly remembered the name. Carina. That was it. Oh, it's fine. Just a little hiccup in yet another day in paradise around here. Carina turned to go down a nearby corridor when another girl about their age came the other way and blocked her. Moira's eyes widened and she thanked the universe for the third or fourth time that her mother wasn't here right now. Unlike Carina, this girl was short, with blonde, shaggy hair, and the fringe that was falling over her eyes was definitely a fire risk given the cigarette that was hanging out of her mouth. But it was the Clash t-shirt, the tiny denim shorts, the leather Doc Martens, and the bottle of beer in her hand that grabbed Moira's attention. Lisa, this is. Sorry, what was your name again? Posh Carina was asking her now. Moira. Moira, Carina repeated. Completed that half of the instruction before going on. And Moira, this is Lisa. She's with Night Stars Talent too. There are loads of us here. It's like a cult, but without free food. That made Lisa laugh as she lifted her beer bottle in greeting. Hi, singer or musician? Moira didn't have much experience with accents, but she guessed Irish. Then got distracted as she felt a very attractive rivulet of sweat run down her cheek. She quickly brushed it away. Singer. Me too. I'm in the Fleetwood Mac cover band over at the Harbour Lights Hotel with our princess hair. She's Miss Fancy Fingers on the piano too, though. So we worship at her altar of talent. Moira watched as Carina responded to the teasing with a roll of her eyes and a snarky. I prefer you when you are 6 drinks down and close to comatose. For a second, Moira wondered if she was going to have to break up a domestic incident, but Lisa just grinned. Yeah, me too. Give me another few hours. Any further conversation was interrupted by the arrival of a guy who slid in behind the reception desk. Sorry, delivery at the back door. He eyed Moira expectantly. You must be. He checked some kind of paperwork on the counter in front of him. Moira Childs, British, here with Night Stars Talent. Moira nodded, transfixed. What were the chances that Michael Hutchine from INX one of her favorite bands in the whole wide world, had a part-time job in dodgy hotel in Hong Kong. Slim. So this guy must just be his identical twin. I am Nate, Australian, here with no other job, so I am forced to work in this cesspit. His smile revealed the most gorgeous white teeth she had ever seen, and Moira felt her temperature go back up to where it had been a few minutes ago when she was outside in 90-degree heat. I will just get your paperwork. Give me 2 minutes. Carina gave her a quick wave. I'm in room 19, just along here. If you need help, advice, or antibiotics. And I'm in 17. If you need beer or cigarettes, Lisa added before they both headed off down the corridor, letting Moira turn her attention back to the guy in front of her. Brain wearing to take all this in. This hotel was a dump. She hadn't even seen where she had been singing yet. But that could be awful too. The city was way too hot and crowded and far from home. And if this was an example of how her new agency treated their talent, then it could be an absolute nightmare. Maybe she should take the advice and run. Carina thought her mother was about to combust. Mummy, can I have a chat with you outside, please? Certainly, darling. Lovely to meet you, girls, her mother said to Moira and Lisa, as if she were addressing the local chapter of the Girl Bloody Guides. Even in times of chaos and rage, Felicity Bateman never lost her manners. They had barely got outside the front door when her mother rounded on her, eyes blazing, speaking through clenched teeth. What the hell are you doing? This is your life? This is your here out to teach and experience another culture? Carina felt her own blood pressure rise. I am definitely experiencing other cultures, she bit back, utterly aware that it wouldn't get her anywhere. How did you find me? Well, darling, the little flaw in your plan is that Daddy gets your credit card statements since we are still covering your costs. Ah, damn. Once her poultry wages were gone, she used her dad's card for essentials like food, water, and drinks at the bar here. And on that intimized statement, this little slice of heaven seemed to show up on a nightly basis. Carina didn't have time to comment on the sarcasm because her mother was on a roll and was now sneering as she looked her up and down. What the hell are you wearing? And since when did you drink or smoke? Again, she didn't stop for breath or for an answer. It's disgusting. You gave up an audition with the Philharmonic for this. No to Not to mention the tens of thousands of pounds we clearly wasted on your education. Carina finally squeezed in a retort. It wasn't wasted. Look, Mum, this is harmless. It's just some fun. If it were possible for a head to spin around, then take flight. Carina was pretty sure it was about to happen. Harmless one? You lied to your family. Carina threw up her arms. Because I knew you had react like this. My whole life, I have never been allowed to make my own decisions. I was at boarding school, then university, and you and Daddy decided on the career I should have. The career you wanted. I don't know what I want. That's the point. I just want to try new things. Work it out by myself. Work it out by yourself? You have never done a damn thing by yourself. Everything has been given to you. Everything except this hideous job and those awful friends. Is this it, Carina? Is this really what happens when you make your own decisions? This is where you end up, and those are the kind of people you choose to associate with. Carina felt the arrow of that judgment pierce right through her soul, swiftly followed by a second arrow, delivering a cool seed of rage. There was nothing wrong with her friends. and this job was the most fun she had in her life. Before she could plead the case, though her mother took her mother took charge. I am not going to stand in the street arguing with you, Carina. Come on, let's go. You are coming back to the Mandarin Oriental with me, and then we will fly. We will fly back to London tomorrow. I am not, Mum. You damn well are. They both knew that Felicity Bateman wasn't someone that people ever said no to until now. Unless you're going to drag me down that street, I'm not coming. Shots fired. Carina knew, though, that her mother's unfailing decorum would prevent Felicity from escalating to physical force or delivering a shouty barrage of demands. This whole conversation had been conducted in the kind of hushed tones that would befit afternoon tea at a five-star hotel. I promise you, Carina, staying here is going to be the biggest mistake you will ever make. Carina took one step backwards. Then, like I said, I guess I'm going to have to work that out by myself. With that, she turned around and walked back inside, praying that her mother was wrong. And praying that she wasn't going to follow Carina back in and have her dragged out by security. I remember Ben, thick dark hair. Carina gave a rueful shrug. All of it gone now, and I don't know about it. I never looked at him that way. Well, I did. Lisa too. Both of us had a soft spot for him. He and Lisa came close to having a fling, but she said he was too nice for her, so I don't think they ever got together. Don't quote me on that. Carina's eyes widened. How do I not know this? Probably because you were so obsessed with Spencer that everything else was invisible to you. Carina picked up a piece of melon from the fruit plate and looked where that got me. I'm sorry, love, but anyway, if you're going with denial, then I will too. Let's just park that to one side until you are ready to think about it. And in the meantime, see what we can do to help Stevie. Is it just me that loves that's her name? No, I love it too, Carina said. Makes me think it was Lisa paying homage to our time here. A knock at the door interrupted them, and Moira felt her stomach lurch. She wasn't ready for this. Not when she was still fighting a tsunami of anxiety about the question in her mind. That will be her now, she said. And look at the state of me, still in my dressing gown. Can you get the door while I throw some clothes on? Yes, ma'am, Carina saluted her. Moira bustled off into the bedroom and yanked open her suitcase. Somehow, flowery frocks didn't seem right for today. So she went for a navy sundress that would hopefully keep her cool while shielding her freckles from the sun. After a 2-minute shower, she brushed her teeth, washed her face, pulled her hair back into a bun and slapped on some deodorant and tinted moisturizer before checking her reflection in the mirror. Bugger. Her eyes were so swollen that no amount of cucumber face serum would fix them. Not that it mattered. Right now, the only important thing was taking care of that lass next door. Feeling not quite stylish, but at least clean and presentable, she slipped her feet into a pair of pale blue espadrilles and went back into the lounge. Where Stevie was now sitting on the sofa with Carina, coffee mug in hand. Good morning, Pat. How are you today? I know that's a daft question. Stevie gave her a warm smile. It's strange, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but I woke up this morning with an old feeling of lightness. I'm still confused about why my mom kept all this from me, and more than a bit gobsmacked about it all. But weirdly, I feel like I'm supposed to be here. Like I was supposed to meet you both. If my mom had got knocked down at any other time in the last 30 years, I'd never have learned about all this. Does that sound crazy? No, Moira said honestly. In a strange way, I feel like maybe we were supposed to be here for you too. Unless, unless what? Carina asked her. Moira felt her anxiety rise to the surface again. Heard the question that had been revolving in her head all night. And then realized that there was no way she was going to be able to keep it in a moment longer. Stevie, I need to ask you something that's been playing on my mind. And I need you to promise you will be honest with me. No matter what, I won't hold it against you. Because it will be nothing that I haven't thought myself. Moira watched as Carina's expression turned to puzzlement, while Stevie leaned forward, put her mug down on the coffee table, and fixed her gaze on Moira. Okay, I promise. Moira took a deep breath, then blurted it all out. I keep coming back to what you said about your mom crossing the road to the post office, and that she had a letter addressed to me in her bag. Well, Moira paused, struggling to put her thoughts into words. The thing is, if I hadn't sent her the invitation to come here, she wouldn't have written a reply. And she hadn't written a reply. Then she wouldn't be going to the post office. And if she hadn't been going to the post office, she wouldn't have been crossing that road. And she wouldn't have been knocked down by a minibus driver with the sun in his eyes. Joining the dots, the train of thought made perfect sense to her. But if she was going to blame herself, then she had to know if Stevie blamed her too. And if so, what could she ever do to even begin to make up for it? So I need to ask you, do you think it's my fault that your mom died? Shall we have a drink at the bar? She suggested, suddenly thirsty. She had forgotten how much the humidity parched the throat. Good idea, Moira agreed. But just let me have a wee word with one of the receptionists. Carina and Stevie followed her as she made a beeline for one of the staff members standing behind the long black onyx desk. "Excuse me, this might be the craziest question you will get today." "I like a challenge," said the smart, smiling man in accented English. If Carina had to guess, she'd say he was in his early 30s, and the dual language badge on his jacket informed them that he was the duty manager. "Excellent. I just wondered if there is anyone still employed here who have been working here 30 years ago." "You see, my friend and I," she pointed to Carina, "while we don't look a day over 40, actually lived here back in 1990 when we were in our 20s. Carina struggled to keep a straight face. This was what Moira did. Charmed anyone she set her mind to. Warmth oozed out of her, and she viewed every interaction as an opportunity to make someone smile, laugh, or chat. Why was she only realizing now how much she had missed that? The gent behind the desk was shaking his head. I am afraid I'm afraid not. We only opened in this location in 2005. And what about the company that owned the building before that? Moira pressed on. I really have no idea. As far as I know, it changed hands a couple of times in the years before that. It was fairly run down when we took it over. Moira nodded. Yup, it was fairly run down when we lived here. We considered that part of its charm. Okay, well, thank you. You're very welcome. Sorry I couldn't help. Moira tried and failed to hide her disappointment by becoming nonchalant and brazy. Oh well, I suppose any other outcome would have been too good to be true. There was really no chance that Nate would still be here after all these years. He's probably back on the Gold Coast on his fifth wife and working three jobs to pay alimony to the other four. A very undignified snort of laughter was out before Carina would stop it. Your mind really does work in strange ways. Moira Kites. Come on, I think this calls for a beverage. They settled down in a cluster of four vintage leather tuck chairs around a smoked glass table and ordered three waters and three coffees from a very efficient waitress. It's so strange to think that my mom was here. I still can't get my head around it. She climbed those stairs, walked on the floor. Actually, where we are sitting is roughly where her room was. Carina realized as she calculated the floor plan. I would love to have seen that. Was she meticulously tidy and a bit OCD back then too? As usual, Moira struggled to contain her reaction. Do you want the diplomatic answer or the truth? Truth, I think. Moira nodded solemnly, fishing the lemon out of the glass of water the waitress had just put in front of her. Well, her room permanently looked like a tornado had blown through it. She had an ashtray the size of a small pyramid, and her wardrobe looked like Topshop had vomited the clothes into it. She was the untidiest woman I have ever met in my life. Hers was the party room. If Jack Daniels ever ran out of bottles, they could have bought her stash of empties. Carina added hesitantly, taking Stevie at her word that she wanted to hear the facts. I mean this with love because I'm so grateful to you both for letting me gate crash your holiday. Stevie began. But I'm beginning to think you're both pranking me. Or that maybe your Lisa and my Lisa were two different women. It makes sense though. Carina tried to soften the shock. Time passes. Moira and I are pretty different from the two youngsters that I lived here too. They were interrupted by the waitress, who had come back with their coffees. And then they steered on to more neutral territory as they shared a few less controversial tales about living here. After yet another story that involved Nate, and they steered on to more neutral territory as they shared so this Nate guy, Carina shook her head. No, he had actually. Eh? No, he was actually Moira's boyfriend. A serious boyfriend. Stevie asked. Moira shrugged. First love of my life. Actually, there haven't been too many since then. If you rule out Robbie Williams and Gerard Butler, I'm still down in the single digits. Oh, hun, Carina sighed. If Moira was using humor to brush over something sad, it meant that she had taken a dagger to the heart. Is being here bringing up feelings? Delaying her reply, Moira gestured to the waitress for the bill, then pulled out the kitty purse to pay it. They all chipped in HK $1,000 each this morning. About £100, deciding that it would be easier to use that for food and drinks throughout the day than all messing around with splitting bills and credit cards. Ouch, maybe I just thought that it would have been good to see him again. I've always wondered what happened to him, how his life turned out. Anyway, there is no point mopping. Shaking off her melancholy, Moira put some notes down on the leather bill holder the waitress had just delivered, and morphed back into her standard cheery self. Shall we make a move? They gathered up their bags and headed back to the stairs, saying goodbye to a different chap who was behind the reception desk now. At the bottom of the stairs, Stevie opened the door, and the three of them flinched as the heat outside slammed into them like a solid wall. This is why I have never liked a sauna, Moira muttered as Carina pulled on her sun, hat, and shades. They had only taken a couple of steps outside when they heard a shout behind them. Excuse me, hello. Carina turned around to see the duty manager they had spoken to on the way in. You asked about people that used to work here. Carina almost staggered to the side because Moira nudged her so hard in the ribs as she exclaimed, "Yes." Well, I was on my break. I had a quick look on Google. There was a newspaper article. The corporation that owns this hotel now. Moira signed the check, charging their food and drinks to her room, then slipped off her chair. "Shall we go then, ladies?" With a parting wave to the barman, they headed off. As they walked down the corridor, Moira said, "You know, it never changes. That buzz when you come off a stage. We could never just go home and sleep after work. We weren't exactly filling arenas. But I understand why rock stars lose the plot. I really do. I won't be long," she murmured, "that I'm going to do that again." She felt his eyes on her back as she walked to the stage, and she saw Moira and Carina jump to their feet as she passed them, now watching her, cheering her on. When she took the mic, she didn't even have to look at the words on the screen because she knew them off by heart. And as the opening bars of Landslide by Stevie Nicks began, she closed her eyes and she sang. She sang for herself, for the two women she had met only a week ago, for the guy she had just knocked at the bar, and she sang for her mom. And when she let go of the last note, she opened her eyes, and Moira and Carina were on their feet again. And so was every other person in the bar. The noise brought her back to earth, broke the spell, and she blushed furiously as she walked back to her seat, into Moira's waiting arms. I wish my mom could have been here to see that tonight. Moira held her tight as he whispered in her ear, "Stevie, I have never been more sure that your mom was right here the whole time." So this is all we have from this book. I hope you guys liked it and liked the story. If you did, don't forget to press the like button. And if you wanted to suggest any other book, you can also tell me in the comment section. And if you wanted to buy any one of these books, you can visit our Amazon page and buy it from there. I'll be back with another video with another book to give a review on. Till then, just take care and goodbye.